All right, I think the recording should be going. All right, so good evening, everyone. I think our speakers hopefully will trickle in, but if not, I definitely have some backup stuff, and then I can just flip it to you all because I think at the end, kind of wanted to, have some ideas on maybe some things that we can consider kind of having for this upcoming year, 2025. So, I believe both of you all have attended some of our BDPA sessions in the past, but just a quick intro for since it is being recorded. So BDPA is a membership organization, our with a focus on technology, embodying the motto from the classroom to the boardroom. Oh, more people are coming in. Um, um, so with BDPA, we are one of our main areas of focus is our STEM program that we usually offer from kind of early in the year till about I guess mid-year, like July, August, in time for the conference. So that STEM program is introducing students, like middle school to high school age students essentially, to computer science principles. So they're learning some programming, like web development. There's an opportunity to learn like research. So that's the IT Showcase program. I feel like there's been like mobile app development's kind of been, yes, de-emphasized, I would say. But I guess I would say in general, if you happen to know anyone or if you have an interest in kind of facilitating that curriculum to students, then I think that's something that we can also just offer just locally and things like that. So yeah, IT Showcase, mobile app development, web development, and a good, or at least IT Showcase and the web development. The one of the goals is to prepare the students for the competition that happens at the conference. That's part of also why it kind of typically runs until the conference. We would like to probably offer year round, but again, need volunteers and stuff like that. So that's like first plug right there for asking for volunteers. So so in addition to our STEM program, we also have like our monthly content that we offer. So thanks to like one of our sponsors, which I'll maybe share a screen with some slides kind of related to that too. But thanks to one of our main sponsors, like Motion Recruitment, we've been able to have content throughout the last couple of years. This year, we've had a number of talks kind of related to Gen AI, and I was able to bring in some companies that are leveraging Gen AI and trying to push out their products there. We've also, I think earlier in the year, we're doing some topics related to uh, kind of navigating this current, I guess, job industry and market and how to kind of still persevere and kind of move through. So that's thanks to Gen AI, I mean, to Motion Recruitment. Also want to give thanks to State Farm. State Farm has been helping us with one, like our STEM programming and also having like this platform Zoom. So that's been going well. Let's see. I think with that, so right now, still waiting for potentially our speakers to join. So in the theme of like reflection, I had maybe a couple like slides that I was trying to at least have some pictures. So it's not just me in the screen. I have a couple tabs. I'm just trying to find it. Let me grab this here and then share my screen. Mhm. Okay, so see how this goes. Um, this one too. All right. All right. Uh, just to kind of lay out how kind of wanted today to go. So wanted to spend some time in kind of a little bit of whatever order as it happens. Kind of spend some time kind of maybe reflecting on how this year has kind of been and maybe even like previous year. I don't think we've really kind of done kind of like a recap of things that have been kind of happening at least in Atlanta. I kind of went through that a bit like earlier this year we had like a number of the talks that we had kind of related to Gen AI and how to kind of use it. So like Victor Montgomery kicking us off at the beginning of the year on Mentor Me and kind of how to leverage Gen AI. And I think as maybe anyone that's maybe been to a conference or a tech conference this year, there's definitely has been probably some track dedicated to Gen AI in some aspects. So hopefully at this point in the year, folks have developed some kind of I guess way to leverage the tool because I continue to talk to people and keep hearing how they mention like yeah, it's finding ways to leverage it. Yeah, there's probably a lot of things related to maybe potential. I don't know if you would say necessarily ethics, but ethics and kind of maybe laws around it that are still being figured out. But um, leveraging the tool so it's not just like another thing that's potentially you're not using it and getting left behind on it's been pretty important. I've been hearing that from a number of people. Like I went to a talk today, so I was able to attend Connect Tech, and one of the talks was related to I think it was like hacking AI. So they kind of mentioned that the goal with kind of learning how to hack is that depending on what you're developing for, since there's probably always going to be some kind of adversary against it, you need to kind of be able to stop those adversaries. So if you know to hack it, of course your adversary would know. So how do you basically create these algorithms that kind of stop them? So that was something that came up. Uh, so just kind of throwing it out there. I know we had a couple of talks on Gen AI. Tassalent was also a speaker. We had 2 sessions related to them and them sharing how they use their in-house Gen AI to essentially help with like risk and assessments and those kind of um I can't remember the name of the department, but risk and assessments and kind of maybe speeding up that process and removing some of the, I guess, maybe potential human error that might come with just how long that is. So yeah, let's see. So I see Jameson's joining. So once he has audio, I'll maybe give him a like a heads up on where we're headed. But yeah, so then at the uh one thing that let's see, hold on. Hey Jameson, I don't know if you can hear us, but I'm just going through some of these slides and then I'll kick it over to you if you can hear us. But if not, I'll get back to you in a bit. So yeah. Um So, wanted to also spend some time, at least in hopefully in like one of the next communications coming out. Wanted to highlight first Lego League. So that's a um robotics competition that's coming up in December. I can share more details related to that. I didn't want to, since we are recording this, I didn't want to just pop uh like the coordinator's phone number on the video and email. So I can send details to that, share details to that in the chat. But I volunteered at this before in the past a couple of times, and it's uh not a complicated role to play. You basically learn as you're volunteering. So, or learn right before you're volunteering. So you sign up, you do like maybe a 30-minute training session, and then you'll be able to help out on the field for that day. So no concerns there, but if there are any questions about this, feel free to like reach out to us on social media and we can connect you. And this would be coming up in December. So wanted to highlight that really quick. I believe next, as I was mentioning earlier, kind of highlighting some of our sponsors again. So Safe Farm Motion Recruitment, again, thank you. I see that Perry Carter also joined. So thanks for joining, Perry. I think maybe potentially a little early. So I'll give the floor to Jameson in a little bit, and then you'll have your um uh block of time to also go through and let me know if anything's needed in the meantime. Um so again, like for reflecting on the year, I don't really have too many slides related to this. I think the next slide was like us collabing with at the conference with yeah, I'll skip these for now. So I'll come back to you guys. So I think the next slide I just have was like us kind of partnering with some of the other groups down that are here local to Atlanta. So NSB, Technologies to Color, Blacks in Technology, and then you see like me, Victor, and Perry over there on the left. So something that, at least for me, when I was kind of getting more attuned to it closer to the conference, was seeing some of the collaborations, at least for this year, that we were trying to do with some more of these groups. I know in the past, like I know I've been familiar with Texacolor, like even prior to this year, like I think various like ways to volunteer, but various meetups on another level too. So I think something trying to maybe be, I wouldn't say mindful of, but something definitely want to grow more of is like how can we partner with more of these groups that are here in Atlanta, and I guess expand some of that exposure for us, and then also some of these other groups. Uh, Additionally, so like there's like the Technology Association across Georgia or something like TAG. That's another group that I know we've been kind of promoting some of their sessions too, and that has its own separate membership, which I think the CIO of Clark Atlanta is one of the board members there. So maybe trying to figure out how to leverage um, that connection too. So um, I know that those so I know that was something that, at least for me, just seeing how we were kind of coming together and starting to, I guess, maybe get into some more of these events, and hopefully that could lead to some more, I don't know, maybe some more advancements, like maybe more volunteers, maybe more fundraising options. But with that, like also with the conference, I wanted to also like highlight some of our, I guess maybe some of our accolades in the last few years. So with us, let's see, I think it's this tab. So So, plug for BDPA today. I'll also plug these links into the chat. So, I didn't really have any like really nice slides for this, so I'll just keep this picture and just kind of talk through for now. But for Atlanta, we were with like our like volunteer team, and I did get the chance to kind of thank folks at the conference as well. But with our volunteer team, like being able to kind of come together and help students, like we were able to once again like place in the esports competition, place in the high school computing competition, and also we had a number of Pacesetter awards. I think State Farm also got one for this year, and the IT showcase. Um, and additionally, like kind of jumping back to 2023, like Ken Reeves. So this year, one of the Pacesetter awards was William Oliver, who runs Steam Sport. So that's again that first Lego League competition. If there's any questions about that, William Oliver would be the person to connect to. And if you need any help with that, I can help with directing. And Ken Reeves, who actually gave our cybersecurity talk that we had this year, I think I forgot to mention that. So we had the talk earlier about if you're interested in cybersecurity, how do you kind of what are some ways to navigate? Like, what are some roles? What are some basically helping develop maybe a path for how to kind of move into that field if you're interested in it? And it seems like depending on who you talk to, there may be varying views, but with kind of that talk with that Ken Reeves was able to give earlier this year, I also was able to learn about like another group, Black Hack Society, and they also have like thoughts around that too. So just more ways of just how to communicate, I guess, collaborate like with Black Hack Society. I also learned about like OWASP, which I know they have a holiday event that they're also wondering if there's ways to kind of leverage like BDPA's network for like promoting that and kind of getting that out there, and hoping to find more experience like cybersecurity folks to kind of join that as well. So um just some of the things I feel that's kind of I guess been boosting since kind of being involved with the local chapter. Um, let's see. And then yeah, just another note on like some of the students. I think again, like I was saying, like this year we were able to place in the IT showcase and esports, and additionally last year we were able to also place in the IT showcase and esports. And but yeah, no like special slides. It's basically reviewing like BDPA today, reviewing our own newsletter, which if you aren't getting those, then we can add you to a mailing list to get those as well. So Let's see. Any, I guess, remarks or comments kind of just walking through that? Let's try to monitor chat. All right. So with that, I think, let me go back. All right. So Jameson, are you good? I'll do an intro and then we can kick off. So are you good to go?
Oh, yes, I am.
All right. So let me do a quick intro. Okay. All right. So Jameson Norwood. As I was kind of mentioning, so to those that joined the talk a little early, so I met Jameson through the Render ATL chat, which I was able to attend Render this year through Texacolor, like they were raffling off tickets. So again, like another plug there. So eventually after Render ATL ended, there are other meetups happening that I believe Jameson was promoting, I think Civic Tech, like that meetup in Tech Square in Midtown. And then we officially got to meet, and then I've kind of learned about some of his experience and other ways that he is trying to like learn and kind of give back to the community. So for an intro, so Jameson is a self-taught Android developer with 10 years of experience freelancing in the IT field. So Jameson today will kind of go through his experience with freelancing and why it should be interesting to you. So I'll stop sharing and I'll pass it over to you, Jameson. So yeah, thanks again for joining us and feel free to share your screen if you'd like.
Oh, all right. Can everybody see it?
Yep, see it. Freelancing, unlocking the hustler within you. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. By the way, let me add one thing too with the Civic Hack Atlanta. That's primarily Sean's event. I just like to talk about it a lot because I love the pizza there and the people.
Yep, thanks.
But yeah. So freelancer, unless unlocking the hacker within. I mean, freelancer, unlocking the hustle within. So one of the main things I wanted to have with this talk was because most times when we do talk about our positions as IT, we usually talk about it from a corporate standpoint. And at Render Atlanta, I only met three other freelancers, and one was originally from Barbados. He was talking to me about why aren't there enough like talks about freelancing and what people can do with freelancing. So I remember I was joking with him saying that if I ever had the chance to, I would do it. So I hope he does see this talk. So starting off, who am I? Jameson Norwood. Officially, I'm a mobile applications developer. I started originally April 16th, 2015. I'm originally from Detroit, but I started my business in Hampton, Georgia. I ended up starting it off because during the time I was in Hampton, Georgia, I was taking care of my girlfriend and helping like her mother with like the bills. And so down in Hampton, Georgia, there's not so much of the networking available that you have in Atlanta. So being that far from the city, where you at least have to drive 2 hours in order to get to the city, I had to I had to pretty much network with everything I had down there, along with the job I was at the time. So for instance, I worked at Jersey Mike, so I would just network constantly at the cash register or just network at the supermarket and use those. Pretty much just helped me once I'm back in Atlanta because it's a lot more booming. So well, that was why did I take that path. Well, yeah, why did I take that path was that, and also I had a lot of inspiration living in Detroit because in Detroit you you find what you're good at, and then you find the best way to get paid from it. Usually, most times people do take the lesser good paths, but one of the paths that definitely inspired me was an economics teacher that I had. Come to find out, there was a Subway around the corner from me that I used to go to every Thursday, and I thought it was owned by somebody else, but come to find out, it was owned by him. And he was one of our teachers who had like a very expensive car, always dressed like very flashy. And it was interesting that you could take the right path in life and still end up right. So, getting into it, what is freelancing? So, Webster Dictionary describes it as freelancer as a person who pursues a profession with a long-term commitment. Hold on, let me move this over. Who prefer who pursues a profession without a long-term commitment to any one employer. But I like to say that instead, it's a person who provides value using their skills and network to businesses and individuals needing them. So it's freelancer for you. The main question I usually ask when people ask this is, can you motivate yourself? If you can, all the time, I say definitely full-time freelancing is for you because you're going to encounter a lot of ups and downs, and you're not going to have the steady paycheck that you usually do inside the corporate environment. If you can motivate yourself sometimes, I say part-time freelancing is better because at least you'll have a job in the background while you do build your network up and slowly branch off into freelancing if you do want to go full time or not. If you can't really motivate yourself, it's okay, but I do still encourage people to like try it at least like one time. So how do you get started? There's two solid ways to get started. Excuse me. You have the typical websites, Fiverr, Upwork. I include LinkedIn, but also, and then you have offline events such as technical events, non-technical events, and impromptu situations. So there's a difference between both of them. Well, online, you have the benefit of being able to easily set up an Upwork account, a Fiverr account, and then customers will passively come to you due to what you set up your packages to be. You also have the benefit of the third party payment confirmation that when y'all do agree on something, the third party of the website make sure that it's solidified. The con is that it can be overcrowded because there are so many people doing what you're doing, and it could be difficult to stand out from people who've been on the website for years. Also, by there being heavy categories into the website, it it prevents you from branching out if you do multiple things. Like, as I say, you program and you do art. You can't really pack those all into the same thing without having to have the customer get two separate packages. Sometimes you end up waiting long times to hear back from people. Like for instance, about a month ago, I ended up having an update of somebody's website and I didn't hear back from them for 2 weeks. Come to find out they were traveling, they were away from Wi-Fi, they didn't know that the Asian country that they went to where they were going to be hiking, they didn't know that they wouldn't have a Wi-Fi connection. So that delayed a lot of the payment that I had from them. And then sometimes online can really be impersonal at times because when you're dealing with face to face, you can gauge people more often. But then when you're more online, sometimes you don't know who you're really dealing with. And it's very hard to vet the customers that you're dealing with. For instance, when I first started my first year, I ended up working on the website, but then I found out the person was trying to use that website to scam. So I had to shut that connection down. Offline, you have the benefits of there's more natural focus engagement, just you being face to face with the person. You have the ability to build rapport with the event or the place. For instance, being at the ATDC building, I can network with the security guards who may or may not be part of the event, or I can network with people who are inside the event overall. By me being able to keep this network up, it makes it easier to have a really good reputation and to be able to get more and more business when I'm talking to people. And their conversations don't feel forced. By you having the ability of having something happening in the background, you don't have to constantly like push business in front of them because it naturally comes forward. People sometimes ask, what do you do? You can branch it off into what's already happening around you, or you can uh you can let them find out later because sometimes other people may be like, oh, by the way, this person does XYZ. Hidden customers. Last week, I ended up going to an art show that one of my friends invited me to. Come to find out, a lot of people that we're speaking to, they were animators, they were artists. One was a one was a screenwriter, And a lot of thing that they had in common was they needed like websites to have like a portfolio. So I was able to market my skills in the middle of that. And that would have been a situation that if I only operated online, I would have never I would never be able to engage with that. Now the one con is you do have to leave the house. So putting on pants may be kind of tough for a few people. The feeling of the awkwardness of the event, sometimes being having to walk into events for the first time, like when I walked in the Civic Hack Atlanta, being the new guy, you have to get used to that feeling over and over. But the more and more you get used to that feeling, the more and more that you have the ability to constantly branch out. And the more that you branch out, the more that you find those customers that are on the fringes. You also do have to work around schedules. Currently, right now, I'm a part-time freelancer since I have a main job doing security. So with this, I do have to work around my schedule with all types of events and do hope that I can get that time off. So that is the difference between full time, you get more of your time, you get more of your time to go to these events and more times to engage with customers. But working with part time, you're gonna have to work with your boss and work around that schedule. Now, with my definition, what I was saying about providing value, the way how you provide value as being a freelancer is by doing work based on your skills, which can be not only just technical, it can also be soft skills, which branches off into networking. Sometimes what the customer may want may not even be what's in your warehouse. Like for instance, I work closely with another person in the IT field named Chris UX. Whenever I find anyone who may need something technical, but it's not back end, he definitely has that. So I'll shoot customers toward him. So I'm constantly helping his business while helping my reputation along with them. What you also gain is that you can connect other potential partners with the customers you already have. For instance, one of the apps that I'm currently working on is is a real estate app, and I constantly find other people who are in the real estate field. So I connect them to the CEO of the real estate app, so that way she can constantly have a solid customer base who who are going to be there as the app begins, which means I'm constantly providing value to her. Another value you can bring is by teaching others your skills. By teaching others your skills, you constantly increase the market like around you, and you constantly increase your own value with being able to get business. Lastly, you can invite others to events or sites that you usually frequent. That helps build the events and that helps build your own brand. So that's mostly toward the end of it, but I would say anything else to continue forward with is a solid book to get. It's called The Ultimate Freelancer's Guide by Yuan Black. It's a very, very good book, and then she covers the part of getting past being an introvert while working with others and networking and getting closer and closer to freelance jobs. The Little Red Book of Selling by Jeffrey Gilmore, that's very good because he usually branches off into a lot of techniques that you're going to need for selling and knowing your product and knowing yourself. The Hypopotamus website, if you're in Georgia or the Southeast, because they cover a lot of startup events that happen in the Southeast, which will constantly help these events be able to get more people in. And then a last one I found this week is called the Freelance Union. So come to find on their site, they have a lot of resources that are a little bit more in depth, and they go into more in depth things of taxes and and a little bit more psychology into networking. And then one of the biggest things that I appreciate that they have is they have a huge, gigantic list of Black freelancers that are all across the United States. So that's my talk, and thank you.
Cool. Thanks, Jameson. Yeah. Yeah, freelancing, like to me, is still pretty daunting, but it's good to hear you've been sticking with it. I might have to come back and ask you some more questions at some point. But yeah, thanks for presenting that to us. All right. Um, so I think with that, we'll kick over to our next speaker. So Harry Carter. So I don't know if this is like wrong to say, but it's like Perry, like I wanted to like just I saw when you joined BDPA, I saw a page that mentioned that. So it mentioned that you joined National BDPA in 1983, and you've been serving in various leadership roles since being a part of BDPA, and now you're currently the national president. So yeah, I'll hand it over to you, Perry. Did you need me to walk through any of the slides or anything, or
Nika, can you hear me?
um, sounds very low for me.
Very low. Is that better?
Mm, mm-mm. Is anyone else having? Can you all hear Perry? Or is it very, very low? Low for me.
Very low. All right, let me see if I can increase it. Is that better?
Yeah, that's better. Yeah, a lot better. All right, thanks, Perry. Off to
Awesome.
you.
Hey, Shanika. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. How's everyone?
Thanksgiving.
I'm actually here in Atlanta this week. We are attending Supercomputing 2024, which basically you may know it as SC24. I'm here with Dr. Bimley, Brian Bimley, and we have a few volunteers that are actually staffing our booth this evening and also into tomorrow. But one of the great things about this program, we've been attending the SC series since 2006. My first one was 2007 in Reno, Nevada. And what we cover pretty much are high performance computing technologies and new ways to assist research and development for mostly colleges and universities. But as you may have seen in some of our conversations we had with BDPA and industry, we also want to make sure that we start tying in our conferences, our BDPA cons, our regional events, and even our chapter engagements to include academia, private sector, and sector. Now, as Shanika alluded to earlier, I started the student chapter at Temple University back in 1983, and I've held most of the positions in BDPA at the chapter level and then region and then national. And I've also participated in most of BDPA's conferences as well as other industry conferences, such as SC24. The fun part about it is that every conference really is a reunion. We've met so many people. Many people remember some of the students that we've had. And surprisingly, we've had several people stop by our table, stop by the booth, and many of them mentioned that BDPA, the HSCC, or the IT Showcase was the very first engagement they had. And if it wasn't for BDPA, they would not be where they are now in their careers. And they were just taken aback by having BDPA present at a supercomputing conference. So you will probably see many of them next year in Atlanta. Of course, we invited them to come back next year in Atlanta. Now, the companies that we actually met, I would say we had over 18,000 people register this year that are attending SC24. So they're occupying most of the hotels this week downtown. You might see the banners downtown. And we've also met many of our mission partners. The ones that we spoke with this week include Dell, IBM, HP, and HPE. NASA was here. And of course, NASA is one of the grants that we're using to expand our program for high performance computing. NSA is here, and also the Department of Defense High Performance Computing Management Program. So we've had relationships with those organizations pretty much our entire existence for BDPA within the last 5 years. I'm sorry, 5 decades. Time does fly. Decades. And one of the great stories that come out of that all the time is the fact that we've had IBM with us pretty much since inception. And also IBM is here now. They had some examples and showcase some of the quantum computing models that they had. But this is a high performance computing conference, very exciting. And we hope to have many of these presentations start to show up more at local chapter and regional events, as well as next year's conference. You may have seen some of the headlines. I know NVIDIA kicked off SC24. They pretty much were announcing new artificial intelligence and supercomputing tools for their customers. And again, I think I shared the link with everyone. If not, we can reshare it, but the link itself is sc24.supercomputing.org. And that was pretty much why we're here. Next year, we're going to be in St. Louis. SC25 will be in St. Louis, and the St. Louis chapter is going to be the host chapter. We do plan to have several events, both in Atlanta and in St. Louis, to celebrate our 50th anniversary. And I don't know if you all have attended locally, but here in Roswell, we have a computer museum. So we met some of the officials here. They're very interested in hosting a reception for us. When I say hosting, co-hosting, I mean, of course, we have to probably lease some space and get catering and everything, but they are very interested in having our reception next year when we come to Atlanta for our 50th anniversary, because it would be a very fun place to walk down the hallway in this museum to look at punch cards and look at old deck writers and pagers that really, exemplifies our 50 years in tech. So very exciting to hear that. And again, it's a reunion. We meet a lot of people, met a lot of members that used to come to our programs, especially the IT Showcase programs, and very exciting. We still got 2 days to go. So if you get a chance, go and stop by. Come on down to the World Congress Center and just have a good time and meet some of the people. The career fair was last 2 days. So the career fair is over for SC24. So that's enough about SC24. Shanique, I think you wanted me to cover some things about the election and some of the things here in BDPA, right?
Yeah. I know there are a couple of things that you highlighted. Like you highlighted potentially quantum computing. You highlighted potentially, the election and maybe we're working with I guess maybe the change of offices in the new coming year. So wherever you would like to take it.
Okay. So one of the things, we're still actually fleshing out our engagement with NASA, and we did have our formal kickoff last week. So we're putting together our final inputs for that. We will have support part-time staff to support, answering the phones, making phone calls, but primarily it's going to be focusing on the site's program management office. So we are going to be putting together standard operating procedures or SOPs for all of those entities, all the academies. And that's their primary focus because it's not a lot of money, but we want to make sure that we actually include any SLAs and service level agreements that we need, any standard operating procedures that we need for those academies. And just to highlight some of the lists, the academies include artificial intelligence, biotechnology, cloud computing, cybersecurity, data science, high performance computing, robotics, and quantum technology. So those will be the academies that we'll be standing up over the next few years. But the grant right now, and we're put in place will be the SOPs and any SLAs we need to do that. And then also some of the user guides and handbooks we'll send out to the local chapters. On the sites, within the sites portfolio, we are still having the high school computer competition, IT Showcase. We want to bring back the mobile app showcase, and we want to be able to add the cluster competition for BDPA. And that is going to fit where we are right now with supercomputing, high performance computing. Pretty much a cluster is a network, but it's a network of supercomputers acting as one. But SC24 and SC25 and SC26 have cluster competitions. Most of those competitions are geared toward college students, but we want to start to bake that into our high school computer competition as well. And those pretty much were the highlights. I'll send this out in writing once we finish our board meeting later this evening. And we also include that in some upcoming press releases and articles once we actually formally establish our cadence for our communications next year. So those are the items there. Right now, I'll just open up the floor for questions, Shanique, if anybody has any questions. These are very exciting times, very exciting topics. And before I forget, I do want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving and have a safe holiday time frame. So I don't want to forget that either. So Q&A, I'm up. We can open up the floor to any questions.
Yeah.
I see Bridget's online. Bridget, what's going on in your world? Any new articles you want us to write about?
No, I don't have
Really?
anything. I'm busy. Taking
We
2
missed
classes,
you.
law classes, just finished up another kid's book, regular stuff. Just running.
Well, speaking of kids, we actually had, and you guys are gonna love this. Dr.
That's right.
Bimley had a training facility in DC, and we were training the young kids. We actually had a small supercomputer that the University of Iowa actually helped us with. It was called Little Phi,
Oh, wow.
FE. And FE is a small, basically, if you all stayed awake in your chemistry class, FE is iron.
Doing
So
good.
we
Also, just started working at Truist Bank. So
awesome.
I've been there a month. It's hard being a new person. Trying to learn it,
Oh.
the system. So I'm not enjoying it, but I'm glad to have a job. But it's been
Okay.
pretty good for me. But no, that sounds awesome. I did have shared my book with the Boys and Girls Club of Metro Atlanta, one of their locations back last month in October, and the kids were fabulous. So I know your program you're talking about is the kids are wonderful. They love this stuff. So they're just the best. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So yeah, I was just sharing with you that we had with Dr. Bimling, we had a group of kids that were working with a smaller version of a high performance computer. It was a very small cluster, and it was pretty much a kit that they had. So instead of big iron, it was little Phi, and of course Fe is the chemical symbol. Fe was the symbol for iron, and we do have a picture of that. And one of the professors actually stopped by our table, and he remembers Dr. Bimley, he remembers Brian, and at that Brian was a little kid. So again, these events are huge, huge
Wow.
reunions. And when you actually go on the floor, again, if you all, I'm sure you all are local here, you know how big the World Congress Center is. We pretty much
It's
had
huge.
all of the exhibit halls, and many of the sessions were held right there on the floor. So you had a lot of technologies were there, the hardware was there, large screens, and many of the subject matter experts were delivering their content and their recession right there on the exhibit hall floor. So again, if you guys get a chance to go down there, get down there tomorrow, Friday, but it still goes on all week, and it's a very good show. But it's where we are now. It's no longer the future. And I'll wrap up here, whereby HP and HPE, we've actually worked with them for the past couple of years on our Exascale Day webinars. So Exascale Day is October 18th, and you all may have seen some of the releases we've had in the past couple of years or so. And again, that just represents 10 to the 18th power. So the newest supercomputer out right now that HP delivered to one of the labs that we have here for Department of Energy and Department of Defense. Those are some of the fastest computers in the world, fastest supercomputers in the world. Stephanie, Victor, anything? Shanika, any questions for me? We're in the Q&A session right now.
Yeah. Well, so I could probably with those questions, like also opening it back up to like the group as well. So like the last slide that I have, sorry, I'm trying to move my tabs around. So last slide I had was around so potentially what to generate ideas for next year. Like what to see locally and those kind of things. So I think you all can see my screen. So yeah, just a slide for again like questions as well as like following up with Perry. So highlighting that there's some of the grants that like from I guess the national level were awarded. But additionally on local level, also thinking of ways to grow and probably, continue exposure to or raise exposure to like other areas. That's I guess something I think that maybe came up at the beginning of the year is there are so many like groups down here, especially in like the Atlanta area, that are either giving back to Black technologists or trying to give back to like the youth in some way. And I guess everyone kind of focuses on different areas, and there might be some areas that get neglected, or in some areas that maybe are I don't want to say saturated, but some areas that maybe do get the focus more than others. But so probably just throwing it out there for ideas. So again, like with like speakers or something. So we definitely had most of our speakers this year coming from motion recruitment, but we had some other speakers that like me and Victor just know. So we were able to offer some opportunities to kind of use the platform to speak, and then hopefully that could grow into other things as well. So if you have an interest in speaking, or if you know some other folks that might want to grow that skill, this could be an avenue to kind of try it out as well. Other areas to collaborate with, like I was kind of pointing out earlier, Technology Scholar, NESB, I think TAG, Blacks in Technology. Those are like some groups, and there's probably a lot more that are out there that maybe we could also try to collaborate with. So if there's any recommendations there, open to those. In some capacity, like throwing the disclaimer is that I do the best I can, but I'm not really the that much of a show person like that, so I do the best I can. So there's a disclaimer, but if you have some ideas, if you want to, if that's something also that you want to lead on yourself, we definitely welcome the like that I guess you to steward that as well. And then like fundraisers, something that was I think being thrown out recently. I think Steam Sport was able to do a fundraiser with No Mas Cantina down here. So if anyone has ideas like that, but yeah, again, just throwing out the ideas. So if anyone wants to unmute, if not, we'll just I don't know.
When you say ideas, what does that mean? I need to give you a lead? Can I just mention a
Well,
couple or two,
yeah,
or what is
if
it?
there's
How
something
much
that comes
information do you need?
yeah, if there's something that comes to mind right now, like feel free to throw out a lead. Could try to I could like work with you to follow up on it or something. Or if it's like maybe just planting the seed and then, maybe you'll think about it, subconsciously, and then something come to you and you want to reach out to us later. Like I know Bridget, you
Have
know
you
how to get in touch with me and Victor or Perry or any of us here. So
have you guys tried to connect with Tech Bridge?
Tech Bridge. I'm not sure if I'm familiar with it. Anyone else?
Andre Dickens, the mayor of Atlanta, used to be on the board. He used to be a very active member with them. Tech Bridge is a company or a nonprofit that gives money to other nonprofits to help them grow their tech
Mhm.
programs. So it's Tech Bridge. And like I said, Andre Dickens used to be very active in that. He's still active in that. I've seen him online still going to the holiday parties or any kind of award ceremony for that. And when it comes to tag, I used to run pretty heavy with that. I know Larry Williams, the president. I know Tino, the president before that. And I know you were talking about Ben over at Clark Atlanta University, CIO. I did see him at the Blacks in Technology event a couple of months back. But he's pretty big over at Technology Association of Georgia as well. But I did attend their holiday event last year in November. We were raising money for the STEM program. But TAG is a really good organization to be involved with. They are the largest technology association in the country. Last time I heard 30,000 members. So if you can, you know, connect with Larry Williams with that and maybe with Brian Ben from Clark Atlanta, he's good too. But Tech Bridge is also really, really good. I have a meeting this tomorrow with another group. They're trying to get a chapter started in for it's called Women in Security and Privacy. So they're trying to get Atlanta chapter up as well. But if I hear anything, I'll definitely pass that on. But I do like Tech Bridge and I do like Tag. They're pretty good.
Cool.
Pretty good.
Yeah, thanks, Bridget. Yeah, that kind of reminds me, I can like pull up something. I hear there's an OWASP, like Atlanta chapter as well.
Mhm.
And I hear that they're trying to promote the one I think they're trying to promote that group, but they also have a holiday party that they're trying to promote. Like I'm trying to pull up
They got Take
picture.
the Halls.
Let's see, how can I easily maybe I just copy this into these slides. 1 second.
Okay.
Oh, sorry. Mm, Oops. All right, so let me duplicate this.
So are you guys gonna have the conference in Atlanta next year?
Yes.
20.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think the last year, right, Carrie?
This the last year in Atlanta?
Think so.
2025?
Right, Carrie?
Right now, so according to where we are right now, we don't have anything in 26 scheduled yet. Um, I am going to be looking for input as to next 5 years. Well, I've already had a couple of chapters want to host 2026. So we'll just see how that goes. But right now, as it stands right now, next year is the last year for Atlanta.
Wow.
Get ready to pack, Bridget. You're traveling.
Well, no, I like DC. DC is easy to get to. They have reasonable flights from here to Atlanta, less than $200. It's reasonable.
Yeah, thanks, Bridget. Yeah, I kind of just dropped the comment in the chat. So like for like as you're mentioning Tech Bridge, like I think about so I was able to attend BitCon this year, which is, hosted by Blacks in Technology. And I think a good bit of the content there did leverage, I think, some of the Atlanta city, I guess, leadership. So I think Andre Dickens was there for kind of a morning keynote, and some of the other members, I think, part of like that tech office. So there might be people in Blacks in Technology that could also help with like understanding TechBridge and maybe also getting Andre Dickens like assistance there or something. So cool. Anything else? I think I can.
Yeah, Shanika, go back to collaborations. I think one of the things that I thought worked very well this week at SC24 is there's tremendous collaboration with academia and industry. And that is something, again, I talked about our triad. When those two work very well together, it makes it easier for the government to support that. And it makes it easier for them to support the government. And supercomputing is really rapidly evolving to where artificial intelligence and the compute power that we have with supercomputers are fueling that, that increase. Companies like NVIDIA and IBM. But long story short, the collaboration is key. And one of the things that we had a couple of schools come through today, they had what's known as student tours. So this is where organizations like BDPA could actually partner with SC or the SC team, city to city, and conduct student tours through the conference. So they actually took some of the students on various, stop by several booths, look at some of the technologies that are out there. And these are high school students that came through today. And the volunteers that were leading them were from colleges and universities throughout the country. So each of the chaperones that were taking groups of students throughout the exhibit floor were young men and women. So that's a good idea for BDPA. When a conference comes to your town, is that we put together a team of volunteers to lead the students throughout. We work with the organizers of that event. And these are tech events. So we have large tech events, like you said, the Blacks in Technology events, the BDPA cons of the world. If we have events like that, we can coordinate tours with the schools to get that student engagement. But that went over very well today. And we also have the opportunities for small businesses. One of the things that you see me share in our chapter meetings is making sure that we have, for our outreach, we tie in our own triad, which includes research and development, supplier diversity, and also talent acquisition. So more than just the career fair, we also want to have the research and development of the R&D component of our industry well represented at our conferences, as well as enough small business opportunities and startup opportunities for our companies, to include those investments and or having other companies that can partner with them to offer subcontract awards. Those are some of the things that will really help out on the collaboration side. On the fundraising side, you just have to apply for more grants, find out the grants that work for you, establish a pipeline 2 years out, 18 months to 2 years out. Visit grants.gov, look at all the grants that are in the pipeline available from the government. Some of those grants are going to come from the state. And then also, I believe, I know Senator Warnock's office was to reach out back to you also. You probably want to get, before the holiday, realign and re-engage with them, because the next set of earmarks, if they stay on schedule, I know we can get a new Congress in session coming up. The 119th Congress is coming in January. But if they still keep that program, then next year's requests, I believe Senator Warnock's office wanted to do some more handholding for the Atlanta chapter, Atlanta team. So you all have a point of contact. Let's make sure we hold their feet to the fire and make sure they can do it this time. And then we plan at least 2 years in a row. So maybe the third year is a charm. So we'll see. So those are the things I want to cover: fundraisers, collaborations, and within that, you have your speakers and presenters. You can draw your speakers and presenters from those 3 areas of industry: public sector, private sector, and academia. You can also have a panel, whatever topic you want, from A to Z, whether it be artificial intelligence all the way down to zero trust architectures. You can have one representative from industry, academia, to cover those areas for you, and private sector, of course, public sector, rather. I'm sorry. But if you need help, I'm only a phone call away. You have my my mobile number. You can text me or give me a call or shoot me an email. And I believe we sent all the chapter presidents a 18-month calendar. So you have a list of themes for every month that you can actually plan for. And we'll probably introduce another calendar for 2026, 2027 very soon. But we want to make sure we align all the themes. So if you need a speaker on certain themes in different months, we can pretty much have those speakers, lined up for you and make some suggestions for you if you need them. So right now, Black History Month is on in planning. So if you need anything to do for Black History Month for our 50th anniversary in Atlanta, if you want to have a major event, or like I said on the call the other day, you want to have a Black History brunch at IHOP and just talk about some of the Black inventors in tech, and you turn those into fundraisers. Make it free for members, and a modest fee or modest a modest donation for anybody else, the rest of the world. But those are some of the areas we can do to support our themes, monthly themes, industry themes as well for fundraisers. I hope that helped, Shanika. Was that any?
Yeah. I think
work?
yeah, it's good to share. It's good to have it, recorded, so we can reference again, and if needing to share with wider audience as well. So yeah, it's good. Yeah, and anyone else, any other comments or questions? We don't have any other speakers lined up for this evening, so it's more like discussion at this point.
So Shanika, if you have my slides in front of you, I can walk through just one of them. I'm not going to do the whole slide deck, but
Okay.
I can walk. I can walk through the one that I think answers some questions as to where the as is and to be, if you will, the as is model, where we are now and where we need to be.
Okay. Yeah. One moment. Let me hop over to my email. All right, share screen.
And I sent it to you. I sent it to you in PowerPoint,
Yep.
so you can make adjustments. You can make adjustments for your chapter. If you guys have any committees, you can go and create your own special interest groups within your committees. So yeah, if you don't mind, go down to slide, I think 3. Go down to the third slide. Okay, right there. Yep. So right there. So those are the groups that we have. I've grouped a lot of our operations and our focus and where people are being measured. Those are going to be the areas that we have as far as our high level. So, again, group 1 through 8, I'm not going to read them all, but you can pretty much see how we have them lined up. And if you go down to the 5th or 6th slide, there's another slide similar to that. I kind of broke it out a little bit. Right here. Yep. Okay. So yeah, right there. I'm just going to focus in on the highlighted areas. So for our NASA grant and part of our ops, our outreach there, we have the workforce upskilling and development. And these are some of the areas that we're covering that are highlighted. So aerospace and health IT are pretty much going to be covered through our robotics academies. And of course, you can actually change those locally. If you want to add in your drones or unmanned underwater vehicles, anything that's autonomous related, you can add that into the robotics academies. That's really where a lot of our autonomy and hardware, software platforms and youth programs can evolve there. Down at the Small Business Innovative Research and Technology Transfer, mentor project programs, and pitch competitions, again, I want to emphasize startups and small businesses. I had a chance to communicate a little bit with Devin and Jason. You all know, Devin Hester and Jason Bradshaw, and other entrepreneurs. I really want entrepreneurs to really start focusing in on where the opportunities are, where the challenges are, and funding opportunities for them and partnerships. So those are some of the things that we've highlighted there. On the sites and HSCC IT Showcase, I've highlighted HPC. So that 5th bullet down at the bottom, we've added HPC, the high performance computing. That was the cluster competitions I mentioned earlier. So we want to start the cluster competition. Our goal is right now is to have 2 of our HBCU chapters participate in a pilot cluster competition this year. And we also want to have our own competition conference here in Atlanta. And then the following year, we'll submit teams to participate in SC26. But if they're good enough, we'll get them into SC25 in St. Louis, the artificial boundaries. If they're ready to rock and roll and they can actually perform, we'll move them into the SC25 competition. And then finally, again, you can see at the bottom there, sites and JRTC. We want to start getting high school students. I think every high school student should leave high school with at least an ITF plus, AT plus certification, or any other industry certification that they're passionate about. So those are the areas right now for those programs. And these programs are revenue generating. And what I mean by that is these are the grants that we will be applying for. These are the grants that chapters will be encouraged to apply for and actually capture and win. That's where the revenue is. Your operating revenues will be coming from on these grants for these exercises and these actual events at the schools, local level, and of course with your mission partners. And you don't have to do it alone. You can actually partner with National BDPA on these. You can partner with Blacks in Technology, Boys and Girls Club, NSBE Junior. That's the collaboration piece. We want to do more of that. And where BDPA, I think, can really help the community is organizations that do not have a technical background. They too are going to need assistance in going after STEM grants or weaving STEM programs into their program. So those are areas that might be of value, especially to the community, but it gets BDPA into the community and it gets parents and teachers involved so that the students are aware of these opportunities, they know who we are, and they will be able to embrace industry better as our industry rapidly evolves. So Shanika, that's all I have for the slide. But like I said, you have a copy of it. You can send it out to your members or your executive committee, and you can tweak it any way you need it locally.
Sure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah. I haven't heard of the ITF certification before, but just like a quick look at it, seems like some things that definitely probably maybe some just like not low level, but some computer literacy things that probably are very beneficial to have. So
that's it. It's IT fundamentals.
Yep. Cool.
But my point is, if I were mayor for the day, every high school student in my city would be graduating with at least an ITF plus.
Nice.
That's just me.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right. Well, I think with that, I'll again open it up if anyone has any additional comments that they would like to share, any questions or anything. But I think we can, if not, we can probably wrap for the evening. So
Victor, is Victor and Stephanie still on?
Yep. Yeah, I'm here in the background still.
So what's going on in your world? What's happening?
So, I was balancing 3 separate events. I had class today. I'm getting an executive coaching certificate. And so I had class, and then I also had a board meeting for local park district. So just trying to be in 3 places at once.
Well, Victor, it looks like you're going to need a big meal on Thanksgiving Day, bro.
We'll be in Cancun. So we're going to do Cancun this Thanksgiving.
Nice.
Yes, sir. I hear you. Well deserved. Well deserved.
Yes. Yep. But no, great meeting, though. Great session.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Likewise. Thanks so much. Appreciate everything you do. Hey, Stephanie.
Yeah, I'm about like Victor, juggling multiple things. So I'm getting ready to talk to you again in an hour.
Yeah.
Oh, it'll be brief. I sent them the same slides I sent to Shanika.
Okay.
So there's really nothing new to it, Stephanie. It's the same thing. It'll be quick.
Yeah, okay. And Stephanie, I want to hear how your development thing is going. So we'll connect separately.
Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah. With that, I definitely want to.
You guys get out the Afrotech.
Afrotech. No, I didn't.
Yeah, did anybody?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. Anyone else on the
Anybody
call?
make it out the Afrotech?
maybe not.
You said that was
I've been
no?
seeing posts about it. Perry, you said you were going to Afrotech, right? Did you make?
Well, so basically, short answer, I did not personally. We had, I know,
Okay.
Chandria made it out, Terry Morris made it out, Devin
Yeah,
made it
Terry
out,
was
and
speaking,
Jason
I
did.
think, right? He was actually on a panel or something. Terry Morris.
Yes, and also I think Tim Coleman was too from Lilly.
Mm-hmm.
But so we did. We were in Houston the same week.
Okay.
So we actually went up to Prairie View. The HBCU, we had a chance to meet with their chief technology officer, the CIO. He actually sponsors his students to come to BDPA, and also the Houston chapter president, Camila Stroy. She was our host. So Prairie View has a 1,600 square mile campus, very large. I believe they're tied into the A&M system in Texas, and everything's big in Texas. But they just won an $8 million grant from the Department of Defense. So we had some conversations about that, and we're looking forward to, moving some of our aspects that we touched on earlier today to support them in the next round of grants coming out of Houston. Afrotech will be coming to Houston next year. Also, there used to be no Robotics Association, Unmanned Aerial Vehicle Association. They're having their conference in Houston. So a lot of tech conferences are now coming into Houston. And of course, NASA is there. So our next visit to Houston, we probably will have a meeting with the folks over at Johnson Space Center at NASA. But it was a good event last week. Everybody had a great time at Afrotech. We had a wonderful time on campus at Prairie View A&M. So we hope to do more with them. I think they are going to have some more. They showed us some construction already in their computer science building. So they may be one of the two teams, them and maybe one other HBCU will have to pilot our cluster competition for high performance computing. So very exciting, very powerful, very powerful group.
Nice. Yeah, I
But yes,
was hearing someone share that Afrotech moving from Austin seemed bigger. I mean, better this year in Houston. Maybe bigger too, honestly, but yeah,
so
maybe
now in Austin, don't they still have South by Southwest down in Austin? That's still going on in March usually, right?
potentially.
Yeah,
haven't.
no, it still happens. I
Okay.
went just last year to South by
Yeah.
Southwest, and I did Afrotech in Austin last year.
Okay.
But yeah, it still happens.
So one of the things we want to do is make sure we I know I would love to see we have a charter chapter in Austin, but we don't have any activity. So we still dealing with a lot of, I call them sleeper cells. So we got to go around and wake some of these sleeper cells up, get those chapters rebooted. It looks like San Francisco is coming back online, hopefully. I think Kareem is doing a great job in networking, getting it up. Los Angeles, I think, is percolating a little bit, and Dallas. I think we're trying to get Dallas some life as well. So we hope to have most of those chapters of ready to roll by February or March. All right, guys. Looks like Victor's dropping off. Victor, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it. Shanique, anything else for me?
No, yeah, thanks for Perry for joining us. Yeah, thanks for I don't know if you caught this earlier, but this should be our last monthly meeting for this year. So
Okay.
so I think a good close out as we try to refresh and prepare what we want to do for 2025. So or Jameson, did you have a question for the group, or feel free to go ahead?
Oh, pardon, I just want to ask for the mobile showcase, what kind of mobile apps do you usually look for?
So maybe, yeah, this could be a question for you too, Perry, as so I feel like in the last couple years we haven't really focused on mobile app. It's been more of a kind of maybe design thinking kind of. So it's been try to come up with have a concept and think through probably how you would maybe flesh out that concept, who those users would be, and kind of that path, a story, storyboarding essentially. That's what it feels like it's been the last couple of years. I think the pitch competition, but prior it was for mobile app. I think it was either whatever the students could develop. If they could develop something on iOS, that's cool. If it was Android, that's cool. But the students were spending basically the year actually developing this app that they're going to demo at the conference. So they had actual apps I'm assuming in the App Store that they were demoing and then eventually winning scholarship dollars if it was something that, the judges really liked. So do you know what's kind of happening with mobile app, Perry, or?
You said it very well. I would suggest, again, if you guys get a chance to go down today or tomorrow or Friday, I'm sorry, tomorrow or Friday to SC24, the high performance computing capabilities are exponentially going to increase the data that we're going to be processing over the next several years. And one of the things I think that young men and women right now in our the mobile app showcase would probably be to really try to focus on success stories and or solutions for intelligent data extraction to the edge. Now, in the military, we call that, the tactical edge, where the warfighter is, where the troops are, getting all, as much compute as we can to the edge. And those are some of the things that we can probably simulate or try to encourage young men and women to try to resolve, because that's really going to be something that will be evolutionary or revolutionary. If we can get very seamless access, frictionless access to the data and only the data that we need in a mobile device, our tablets, our eyeglasses, our clothes, our car. Other thing is, I don't know if you all heard of V2X, the letter V, the number 2, and X. That's going to be another initiative coming out of the Department of Transportation. It's already out there, but basically it's pretty much vehicle to rest of the world, pretty much vehicle to everything else. And those technologies and getting data to your dashboards, to your steering wheel, wherever you need it, those will be some of the themes I can see that we can actually leverage in our mobile app showcase. And quite frankly, that's really what the mobile app showcase should be about, is wherever you are, what data do you need, and what kind of tools that they can develop and showcase that for the competition. But again, it's very exciting. These are exciting times to be in, Shanika. So I look forward to it. I just think we just need a few leaders to actually run that in their regions and the local chapters, and we'll actually work with that in the national level. But I see that happening very well and very fast over the next several years.
Cool. Yeah, thanks, Barry. Yeah, I hope that helps, Jameson.
Yeah, Jameson, did that answer your question?
Oh, no, it did. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Not a problem.
Cool. All right, then yeah. So yeah, I guess best wishes for Thanksgiving and this upcoming holiday season. So again, I dropped some of our social media links in the chat. And email as well. So again, highlighting the volunteer opportunity coming up with Steam Sport in December with First Lego League. That's the address is there. But again, if there are questions around that, feel free to reach out to me and I can connect you with William Oliver. That's how you would officially sign up. And feel free to spread the word too. Like if you have some folks that might be interested, then feel free to share it. But yeah, again, happy holidays, everyone. Thanks for joining us this evening. And yeah, we'll close out here. Thanks,
Thank
Jason.
you.
Thanks,
everyone.
everybody. Appreciate you.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Thank you.